tier list review. Yo, Prydwen's got a new tier list. I've seen a bunch of people review it, and I just want to give my takes, my personal ideas and stuff on it. And I haven't seen anyone talk about the pure fiction tier list, and I've seen some people like commenting like, yo, why is no one done pure fiction? I was wondering that too. So I'm going to start with pure fiction, actually, you know. Maybe the first person to look at pure fiction tier list, because pure fiction is pretty fun, even though it's not as hard as MOC, which is maybe why most people are looking only into MOC. But pure fiction still has its own, it is a form of endgame content that does reset and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get right into it. If you don't know how Prydwen's tier list works, you probably do if you look into this type of content. They have these they have a really nice rating setup pretty much, and they have increases and decreases between each patch and stuff like that. And then they have these little logos for the character to explain what they do for damage dealer, specialist, amplifier, sustain. And then you've got these little icons for RNG, people like Chingshui, or your breakers like Zhuyi, stuff like that. And then you have synergists, which characters get really strong, you have them together, you know, like Kafka, Black Swan, you know, stuff like that. But let's get right into it. So pure fiction, starting with the sustain over here. Sustain, we've got Fujuan and Huohuo in S+ tier. That's pretty solid, honestly. I'd argue Luocha can even be up there with them, but he's probably not up there with them because Huohuo has the ability to give you the attack buff, and you don't take that much damage in pure fiction because the enemies are significantly lower level than they are in MOC. MOC, I think floor 12 is what, 95, and then in this they're 80 or 85. So you don't take as much damage because they want you to be able to stack up more points since you're fighting so many enemies. So I can see why Luocha is down here in S. And then for amplifiers, we have Ranmei in S+ tier. Makes sense, you know, the GOAT does everything, makes any team pretty rusted. And then we have, for specialist, we have Kafka below Black Swan. I feel like they should just always be together, I'm not gonna lie. With Black Swan being released, wherever Black Swan goes, I feel like Kafka can go unless there's something super specific. Now, for this pure fiction though, Black Swan does make it so that when you have Arcana, you start it, you literally just start clearing out waves. You have Arcana stacked up on a wave, it just clears out a wave automatically for you. It's like a follow-up attack of Arcana. It just starts blowing up, which Kafka can't really replicate. So I could see that if that's the reason for her being an S+ tier. I actually wonder if they have that in the changelog for Black Swan. The reasoning for Black Swan ascension to S+ rating is similar to Kafka's, but while Kafka is very versatile and can be used in used in many teams, which makes her shine in MOC, Black Swan's AoE potential is simply insane. Everything Arcana stacks on enemies equals to a blast attack that decimates the waves, not only in the current PF, which is dot oriented, but we also tested her in the old one, and there her performance isn't much worse. Oh, okay. That's a pretty good, yeah, so that's pretty much what I said. Yeah, her AoE is the reason they have her up here. That makes sense. And then Argenti and Herta, yup, big damage, you know, Herta, follow up when they're low, just do big spins, big, you know, little big damage. Argenti is insane. Dude, I've seen Argenti gameplay. It's so satisfying to see Argenti just clean out waves, just go ulting. Or just see, when you're even just farming, EXP books or, trace materials and they have physical weakness, this man shreds through it, E0, or if he's a whale one. I have a whale one on my friends list, and he just clears everything for me. Himiko, S tier, makes sense, clears out waves with follow-ups. Herta Himiko combo is insane. Herta Himiko combo is kind of like this, it's the same situation as Black Swan Kafka, honestly, because Himiko can't do as much as Herta, since Herta just follow-ups, even if she's not breaking, she just needs to get them to low HP, and they're usually small mobs, so she's going to get the follow-up, while Himiko needs the weakness break. Looking at A tier here, we have no one in A tier for sustain. Then the sustain's all the way in B tier. Lynx, Jeopard, and Bailu. I feel like Bailu could probably move up, but I can see why she's in B. Bailu just heals, and then she does have the damage reduction though when you ult, which can be pretty good. Jeopard, you don't really need the shield because you don't take that much damage. And then Lynx, you can have the overheal from Lynx, which is pretty good, but it'll run out in terms of her technique, so you'd have to get her ult. And you don't get CC'd much in pure fiction from the enemies we currently have. If they start adding more CC enemies, Lynx will probably go up. And then for amplifiers, we have Pella and Hanya. I don't know if Hanya would really be that good to be in the same tier as Pella. I'm not gonna lie, Hanya could probably go down with Yukong, because you can only mark one enemy with Hanya's buff, and if that enemy dies, like, I guess if you're going, because that boss only spawns in when you get to, like, I think it's like 30k points or something, and then the boss is like you're overkilling the floor, because you only need 60k points. Like, if you get like 20k, I don't think you get to the boss, from what I remember. I skipped over S tier. Exiting here. Tingyun, Bronya, and Asta. Pretty solid. Asta, speed buff, Bronya. I personally would never use Bronya in Pure Fiction. I would just use like another DPS character. I could see Bronya being in here though. Maybe if you're using Herda, you want her to get another spin-off, something like that. Could always just put in like another DPS character, like a sub DPS, to get some extra damage off. And then Tingyun, you know, just buffs it, gives the person an ulti. Undisputed for sure. Yeah, I don't think Hanya should be in the same tier as Pella though. Hanya in the same tier as Pella. Pella's got the AoE ult. Hanya's only got the AoE speed buff and then damage. Wait, no, her thing's not even AoE actually. It's one person gets like the fat speed buff. That's like a percentage her speed, and then they get the bonus. Yeah, so Hanya probably should be down here with Yukong. And then we have for specialist, we have Fire MC. I'm surprised Fire MC is not in sustain. I guess they have Fire MC as breaker. That makes sense, I guess, versus Fire Week content. I don't know for Fire MC. Fire MC, you only have, like, for this specific Pure Fiction here, I guess there is a lot of fire weakness on the second half. So you could have them as, yeah, you can have as like break build with like semi-sustain for the, when they ulti, they give like that mini shield to everyone with the damage reduction. So I could see that. Sampo, just AoE wind shear. There's the dot buff, where you get like the bonuses based on whichever buff you choose. And then Gunaifen, lots of break. Gunaifen's really nice in this. You can go like ER rope Gunaifen and just keep breaking. It does a lot. And then if you have the solitary healing light code, it does big damage. Now for A tier here, for damage dealers, we've got Blade, Clara, Jingyuan, Jingliu, Sealy, and Serval. I'm gonna go ahead and argue that Clara could probably be an S tier here, especially with the buff where they get action forwarded by getting hit by dots. No, they don't even have to get hit by dots, they just have to get attacked. Yeah, they get action forwarded. If all those hits are going on Clara, she's doing a lot of damage. And she has her ult for the AoE, she's doing a lot of damage. Maybe I'm underrating, or maybe I'm overrating her damage, but she can get hit a lot in this specific Pure Fiction. So I could argue she could be an A tier. Maybe even Blade up there too, because Blade can also get hit a lot. Then we have Jingyuan, Jingliu, Sealy, and Serval. Serval went down. I'm interested what they have for Serval going down. I personally played Serval and Kafka and just nuked everything. It was pretty nice. I did Black Swan, Serval, and Kafka. Literally just nuke everything. They have Serval's damage is mostly blast oriented with the occasional AoE via ultimate, and she can't really rival Himiko when it comes to clearing waves, and her performance and our tests and data reflect that. So we decided to drop her down a tier. Interesting. I think she's still pretty good, but if they tested it, you know, it seemed my Serval was putting in work, I'm not gonna lie. If you have shock on them, like every wave, you literally ulting like every 2 turns almost, because there's so many enemies, you're just nuking the waves. But if they tested it out, you know, I could agree with that, I like seeing Serval up in the, you know, almost S tier. She was in previously at S tier. I like seeing Serval up on the ratings. Jingliu, I played Jingliu second half. Literally just Jingliu. The only thing is she can't attack 5 targets, but it doesn't matter because she still kill all the enemies, you know, does a lot of damage. You get your ult up faster since you're killing the enemies quicker, so that's pretty nice. It makes your ult come up way faster than usually, like 4 turns. Sealy gets a lot of resurgence if she's killing the enemies. There's not any quantum weakness, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there's rarely any quantum weakness. You got like 2 enemies with quantum weakness. So she's not getting the full effect of 4-piece quantum. No quantads, unfortunately. But she still knock out these small enemies, get some resurgence buff. It definitely falls down in terms of performance, but she'll still have her action forward on kill, which is nice. Still dominate a lot of enemies. IL, I can see why he's in B tier. Going to be using too many skill points and not as much value as using the units as above. Makes sense. QQ, same thing, and then she's also RNG. You're only doing single target unless you proc your E4, so makes sense she's in B tier. Topaz can only mark 1 enemy. She does have the follow-up, though. She kills something, and then she would just follow up another enemy. But, yeah, having only one enemy get marked for the follow-up, it's not going to do much unless you're at the end where the boss spawns. But then, at that point, you're already, like, overkilling them. I feel like Welt could potentially move up, because there is imaginary weakness on this first elite here, and you can delay them, but you don't really necessarily need to delay them since they don't do that much damage to you, so I can see that. Zhuyi, no quantum weakness, makes sense she's down here. Yukong, said that before. I think Hanya should be down here with her, and then Sustains, looked at Sustains already. C tier, C and D tier don't really have to say much. Dr. Ratio, he's a single target guy. He's insane in single target. Hook, I learned recently about Hook. I thought Hook was like almost the same as Serval, but I forgot she has to have her ultimate to actually get the AoE damage, which is why she's usually down below. Because I thought before, like, she just always has her AoE, but she only gets the AoE after ult. But her ult does have a really fat multiplier, but it's 120 cost. You're only getting it like every 3 to 4 turns. So it makes sense that she's down here. And then physical MC, they are AoE. There is physical weakness, but physical MC, you know, just not doing that much damage. Misha, I haven't seen much about Misha. Don't really know anything about like the gameplay or anything. There is ice weakness on the second half, but I don't know if it's worth having him on the team here. Silverwolf, just single target, literally just play Pella. March and Natasha, same thing. And then Arlen, Dan, Hang, Yanqing, Luca, and Susheng, all single target. I feel like Susheng arguably could go up because there's physical weakness on a lot of second half. I guess it's near the end when you get to Argenti, so that's maybe why. You would have to have an implant to get the physical to like really pop off for break. And then, yeah, same with Luca. Luca, like, you 100% want physical on all enemies, so it makes sense to down here. But I agree with most of the things on here. Just Pella. Pella probably could move up, I'm not gonna lie. It has the AoE ult. Pella's probably just not an S tier for the fact that she has to reapply her ult, but Pella gets her ult really fast. And in this, you can literally have a free debuff on them, so if you have something like Silverwolf Light Cone, like, you're gonna have 100% uptime on that without, like, anyone applying anything. So, honestly, Pella arguably can move up. Or if Pella doesn't move up, I think Hanya 100% has to move down. Alright, so getting into the MOC tier list here, let's start with Sustain and just go over. Actually, I'll start with Damage Dealer. Let's go Damage Dealer over to Sustain. So Damage Dealer, Jingliu, Unbeat Queen. There's Ice Weakness versus this Deer, you know, she just smokes everything. Jingliu has a decent build. She would just roll through everything. Don't have to worry about it. Kafka, Specialist. Same thing with Pure Fiction. Except for Pure Fiction, it's a little bit different, I guess, because of the AoE with Arcana. But for this specifically, I think Black Swan should definitely be with Kafka. If you're playing Black Swan and Kafka, like either one, I think she should definitely be up here. You know, they go hand in hand together. They do a lot of damage. Black Swan by herself, even without Kafka, does a lot for other dot units that have like reprocs like Sampo and Gunithan to add extra damage to your team overall. And then I think the only reason Topaz hasn't moved up yet in terms of Specialist to like S+ tier is because we don't have that many follow-up units yet for her to support. And yeah, that's probably it. We just don't have that many follow-up units yet compared to like Dot. Dot has almost like the full trifecta. Like Kafka, unironically, is like the Exodia. She is literally Exodia right now. Whenever more dot units come out, she just keeps getting stronger and stronger, and now we have our first 5-star dot unit. I mean, it's just big damage. Amplifier, Ron May, undebatable, S+ tier. Put her on the team. Lots of damage, lots of stuff going on. Sustain, Fujuan, yep, also undebatable. Fujuan is insane. I unironically think Fujuan is like one of the best units in the game, if not the best unit in the game, in terms of just like all content in the game. Golden Gears, Swarm Disaster, MOC, Pure Fiction, you have her on your team. You're not taking as much damage. She has a heal in her kit. Like, she can block you from getting hit by a CC. There's just so much Fujuan can do. It's just insane. Also, Ron May honestly goes up there in terms of like just like best units overall. Let's look at an S tier here. So S tier for damage dealers, we got Ratio, IL, QQ, and Sealy. Ratio, so nice. My Ratio, especially with this Hunt buff, this Hunt buff is so nice. I've been running my Ratio of no speed boots. He is decking out like so much damage. Full free-to-play build, no signature light code, just using a Herta light code. He's dishing out a lot of damage. I've been playing on some viewer accounts, running some IL. IL's still very nice, you know. He's gonna get insane. I actually I see IL moving up to S+ tier when Sparkle comes out. I don't think Sparkle will go up to S+ tier, but I do think she'll definitely be S or S+ tier. Maybe she'll be S+ tier because of the MOC buff though. They might do an MOC buff that helps Sparkle and QQ and IL, which means all of them would move up, but we'll see in the future when that comes out. But he's definitely gonna get a huge buff when she comes out, as well as Ching Shui. And then Sealy has the hunt buff as well for extra turns. Already talked about Black Swan and Topaz. Bronya, Silverwolf, and Ting Yun. Ting Yun is insane. I've been trying to put people on the Ting Yun train. A lot of people do not believe me that Ting Yun has situations where she can be better than Bronya or the same as Bronya. I think she's never below Bronya. Unless it's like something super specific, like you're running like no speed boots on your team and like you really need that action forward. Like Bronya is obviously an insane character, but Ting Yun does a lot with her kit. Like the energy, the attack buff, the speed, she does a lot. Silverwolf now in this, I'm assuming Silverwolf's up here because the quantum weakness for the deer and then just her debuffs. But Silverwolf, I feel like with Pella being in the game and everyone knowing about Pella now, Pella can honestly go up. Pella does a lot. There is ice weakness on all of this half. Like, I feel like Pella should be up here with them because everyone has ice weakness. She can add to extra break, and then Pella has her 2-turn ult. I mean, she's got a lot of value too. And then sustains Quohuo, Luocha, makes sense. Quohuo's got the attack buff with dot units, and then Luocha just no skill points, bro, just heals you. Call him Brother Luocha, my goat. A tier here, damage dealers. We've got Argenti, Blade, Clara, and Jing Yuan. Makes sense. I don't know Jing Yuan for this specific MOC. You'd have to get there's a lot of lightning weakness, or not lightning weakness, lightning res. Like Kafka's got lightning res. I guess this girl has lightning weakness. You could run him maybe second half if you like brute force it. And then the deer is lightning res. She has wind res. This guy's no res, but deer is going to be a lot of where your cycles are going to get like taken up from. So I don't know if Jingyo in first half, maybe second half. And then we have Argenti, Blade, and Clara. A lot of physical weakness second half. Clara can go crazy. Lots of hits. That I actually haven't seen much Clara gameplay versus like this girl. I feel like Clara could almost counter this girl, except for she gets stunned, because Savarog would get stunned, you wouldn't be able to hit. Unless like you effect res it. If you get some like effect res, you have like links. If you have like E2 links and you make it so every time that you put the extra aggro value on her that you're also blocking the CC, I could see Clara doing a lot of work versus this. Same with Kafka, since Kafka usually hits. She always does most of the time a cleave attack, unless she's doing her follow-up because you have shock on you. So Clara probably goes pretty hard here. Blade is just Blade, lots of damage. He's just that guy. And then Argenti's pretty solid, lots of damage. You get that full 180 cost ult, you're nuking the whole field. Break Luca second half, insane damage. Break Luca versus second half, it goes crazy. You get that break off, you're hitting them like half their HP, and then they act again and they're getting nuked. Especially if Ron May with that. Holy, Sampo definitely went up because of Black Swan coming out. He can work with Black Swan, works with Kafka. You know, if you have both of them, maybe you don't have Ron May on the team, you want a third dot unit. You know, you put Sampo right there. Lots of damage getting added on. Zhui Yi is very nice versus first half. You do want Silverwolf though, because not everything has quantum weakness, and she loses all your value if you don't have quantum weakness. But if you have Silverwolf versus this, she's really nice versus first half, especially with the free action forward to destruction units, which is pretty good. And then you have Asta, Hanya, and Pella for A tier and Amplifier. I don't know if Hanya should be up here with Asta and Pella, but I'm assuming she's up here since there's physical weakness on the second half. Because I can't see myself using Hanya here over like Pella. But she does give you extra skill points. Maybe if you're playing IL or QQ, you need some extra skill points. She could be good versus second half. So I could see her being up here. And then Lynx, just very solid. Lynx is so good versus second half. I've been playing on people's accounts that don't have like Fujuan or Luocha, that are like newer players or like returning. Lynx does a lot of work second half. Solo sustain. She can also solo sustain first half. which is pretty nice. And then the B tier here, we have Herta, Himiko, Serval, Gunnaifin, Susheng, Welt, Yukong, Bailu, and Japard. Starting with these DPS here, Herta, there is ice weakness versus first half. You definitely want, she does pop off versus the deer since the plants get spawned in. You know, you're going to get those extra kudus, you know, get some extra spins. Himiko, I think, should arguably get going up a top. I can't speak, oh my god. Himiko arguably should go up a tier because there's full fire weakness on the first half. Even the plants that spawn in have fire weakness. The only thing you don't have fire weakness for is this girl, but you could just burst her, make sure she dies, and then you just have the monkey and the deer. And she could just clean through that. I think she could arguably go in A tier, especially for this MOC. The only thing is she's not getting the action for it since she's erudition. That could be like the only argument, but you do have all these other buffs. Like anyone else can use these other debuffs that you get for free, which is really nice. And then you have the extra follow-up attack damage. You know, you get extra follow-up attack damage stacked up on top of the enemy. You're going crazy, you know? Serval, bunch of lightning res, makes sense she's down here. Serval goes crazy though. If you're a Serval gamer with me, power to you, power to you. I've been Serval gamer since day one. Fully maxed out, you know, I love my Serval. And then we have Gunnaifin, Susheng, Welt. I feel like Susheng is pretty underrated. Susheng can do a lot if you have like a nice team with her. Like she gets those breaks off. She does a lot of damage. E6. She gets that 40% break effect for free from her E4. Does a lot. Gunnaifin also does a lot. I just recently got Gunnaifin E6. Did a run versus first half here. She does a lot when she gets those breaks off and then getting that ulti. Big damage. I think she could arguably go into A tier, especially with Fire Kiss on top of that. Like, she does a lot. And then Welt, I think just a lot of people don't play Welt. And Welt, if you want to play him, like, optimally, he needs, like, a lot of investment. And you need to know about, like, the characters and, like, the enemies and, like, what they do. In terms of, like, being able to get that Welt delay in between their attack to make sure they don't get that extra attack off. And just having him as, like a second sustain unit almost with his ultimate, which a lot of people don't know. Yukong makes sense. A lot of people don't know how to use Yukong, or they can't really fit her into the teams, and it's not worth it usually over other people. But she does have like pretty good buffs in her team. It's just hard to get them off like effectively. And then Bailu and Japard. Japard, there is ice weakness versus the first half, but Jeppy versus the other sustain units, he doesn't have the cleanse. And then the shield. Shield's definitely getting burned through if you're fighting like the deer. Like the deer can almost just nuke your shield. Like I can see Japard down here. And then Bailu. Bailu's honestly not that bad. I think Bailu could almost go up, but she's probably down here because she doesn't have the cleanse, and there's a lot of CC that can happen to you. And there's wind shear coming from this Joppa lady, and then this is just all CC. You have dots, you have lightning dot on you, and you have the stun that this lady can do to your whole team. So I can see why she's down here. She can't really compete with Lynx. And then finally we have the C and the D tier. Just gonna do this all together. Danheng and Hook. I don't know if Hook should be this low. There is fire weakness, but I guess there's not fire weakness on the first thing, but Hook benefits just off of the burn. And then if you have the burn on the, I think it's the same thing almost like Himiko. Obviously Himiko does more because it's like AoE, but you still have fire weakness here, and you have the extra damage. Like, if you blow through this lady, like, all you have left is 2 fire weak people. I feel like she could perform there. But I personally haven't tested Hook, so I can't really attest to if she should go up to B tier or not. And then Danheng, there's barely any wind, and, you know, it's 4-star Dan. You know, get on the 5-star Dan, man. What you doing on 4-star Dan still, you know what I'm saying? Brother Arlen at the bottom. Yeah, it's just Arlen. It's just Arlen. Got us, and then Yanqing all the way at D tier. Yanqing is never recovering. I used to play Yanqing when I was early game, but he is just on the bench. I have not touched Yanqing since, like, I think ever since I got Kafka, I have not played Yanqing. Like, he's just on the bench. Yeah. Level 66 in that guy. Misha, I haven't seen much about Misha. I've seen he can do a lot with his E6, like he can do like some freezes. He might go up once people learn about him and like his freeze tech, sub DPS. Someone will test out Misha. It will not be me, you know, with my free-to-play materials, so that just won't be me. Fire MC, there is fire weakness to break, but Fire MC versus the other sustained characters, usually not worth it. And then We have March and Natasha. They just can't really compete. March does have the freeze versus first half, which could be nice, but she just can't really compete in terms of like the cleanse and everything, AoE cleanse. So makes sense she's at the bottom. But yeah, overall that's my tier list review here. Honestly, I agree with most of the stuff. Black Swan, I think she should be with Kafka. You know, they go hand in hand. They both nuking. They're both doing a lot of damage. They are literally the specialists. I think they are literally the specialists. Definitely interested to see how this changes when Sparkle comes out in terms of IL and QQ. If that's the push they need to go to S+ tier. But besides that, also if there's lightning weakness on the next MOC, maybe for like Archeron or something. Move my girl Serval up, you know what I'm saying? Because I will be there. I will be there no matter what. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Overall, though, definitely agree with most of the stuff. I love how Prydwen sets up their tier list. This is a really nice like tier list setup. You know, compared to like the usual tier list where it's just like, you know, all these characters in S tier, you know, and then like you go through A, B, C, D, and then they have like little icons and everything. Pretty nice how they have this set up, and then they have like the explanation, stuff like that, their change log, the criteria. Yeah. But overall, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I would definitely try to look at future Prydwen tier lists. This is my first one looking at. This is my first time like looking at it for like a video and like reviewing it overall. But yeah, besides that, I'll see you later. Goodbye.